Hello everyone else, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to talk about being invisible in this life. It is really tough whenever I'm just trying to understand this issue. Lastly, I was watching an anime which is Attack on Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin. And also I have created something like the recommendation and the recommend and the reviews for this anime and just the voice after that. But the problem is I'm 26 years old, I'm getting older, and I couldn't make my dreams come true. Let me explain you something clearly. On this channel, I have tried to record a bunch of Turkish videos, but whenever I'm just recording Turkish videos, I can understand that it is not very beneficial for myself because my ideas, my culture are so different from the Turkish society and Turkish traditions and the Turkish culture. That's the reason why I want to just record my videos in English language, and it is better to get more international audiences. But the problem is, because of I'm a third class country citizen from Turkey, I'm living in the Middle East, which is nobody wants to live here. And if you are living in the puberty, if you are living in third class country like the Philippines, Turkey, and Iran, and other underdeveloped countries, you can understand that nobody wants to live in this kind of countries. But the problem is, as a man, it is really tough. If you are a girl from this underdeveloped countries, you have a chance to go to the developed countries and you can get married with someone else from there, and you can get a citizenship, and you can get like the staying visa there, you can get a accommodation there. And lastly, I'm just working as an officer in Turkey, and I'm just working in a university. And maybe yesterday I have seen a news from my Instagram. Some girls just committed suicide, and I became so sad for that. Let me explain you why. Whenever I'm just watching the people around the world, mostly the third class citizens members have tendency to commit suicide. I'm not judging them. I'm not just saying that you don't do this, commit suicide, etc., etc. But the problem is, it is even the Attack on Titan, which is a very great anime for ourselves. I have seen that the LDS society and the Malay society. If you are from the Malay society, you can get a better nutrition, and you will just get older really lastly if you are compared to the LDS society. In the LDN societies, people just getting older easily because they are getting the not healthy nutrition, and they are just getting close to death than the Malay society. In the Malay society, you can do whatever you want, and they are just getting utilized the other second or third class countries. So such as America. Think about the America. What the America doing? Mostly the America bringing democracy, and they are just exploiting the resources of the underdeveloped countries like the third class countries, the second class countries. People are living in this kind of countries are suffering, and nobody cares. If you dead if you are going to death in India, if you are going to death in the Syria and other underdeveloped countries, maybe the Iran, maybe the Turkey, nobody will going to take care about you. Let me explain you why. Because your value is really less when we compare it to first class countries. So another problem is we are living in the very aesthetical society anymore. What does it mean? Let me explain you clearly. If you don't have very beauty standard, if you are not in the beauty standards, if you are not very fit, if you are not very handsome enough, so you are going to expelled by the society. Even in the Asia, it is so harsh. If you are not beautiful, you are getting expelled by the society. If you are not beauty in Japan, you are getting expelled by the society, and you are not eligible to get into a job. So here the most of the problems are people are suffering, and there's the discriminations, even just like the direct and indirect discrimination. I'm not going to judge that. For example, I want to go to Japan, and someone else will from Japan can say that, why you are coming to Japan from your underdeveloped country? Why you made a shit of your country, and you want to do the same things in my country, etc. So let me explain you something for this question. Why are the Japanese people living in Turkey? Why are the Japanese people living in Germany? Why are the Japanese people living in the United States? So there are a bunch of questions are just arising. If you are going to just do the third class countries, the members to like that, so I'm gonna ask you something. Why are you guys living here? And there are the people, there are some Japanese society living in Turkey. That's the reason why we are just going to rewind it, and we are going to take it, and going to think it twice. So another thing is, if you are living in the poverty, if you are living in a third class country, you want to change your country. Let me explain why. When you are just getting out of your house, you are seeing bunch of trash, bunch of bad environment, and a bunch of the bullshit buildings. And when you are comparing your country to the first class countries, you can see the aesthetical places. You can see the bunch of people are enjoying at the parks. But in the Turkey, people are just fighting with each other every time. They are killing each other, and every time there are a bunch of problems here. So nobody wants to live in the Middle East. And people are very angry here. So here the problem is why they are just committing a lot of crime in Turkey, in the Philippines, in the India, because of the poverty and because of the being a third class citizen. Nobody wants to live in a third class citizen. Okay? So the other things, if you are from a third class citizen, if you are from the Turkey, your nationality is really important, even when you just say the opposite. On this channel, I'm going to continue to speak in English language, but nobody's just watching my videos in English language, so sometimes I'm trying to speak in Japanese language and other languages as well. I'm living in my house, and it is really tough for me because I also know one thing. After with that, nobody will going to take care about us. And after with that, nobody will going to take care about us, and nobody will going to remain. So if you're a man, you need to struggle. If you're a girl, it is easy. You can just pick up a man and you can just turn back your ass. You can get the easy money. If you're a man, you are going to expel. There was a survey, there was a scientific argument for a feminist writer. She was trying to be a man from New York. She was just writing a lot of feminist radical ideologies from America, New York, and she tried to act like a man, and she even changed her voice. And then she realized something. When she went to workers' places, and she realized that the man's life were really hard, and they couldn't even speak about that. Then they didn't just talking about the girls, and they are not just going to creating their man's kingdom, etc. Everything was mistake. So the girl's life easier, according to my opinion. If you're a man, if you are talking about your emotions, if you are talking about your depression, you have a potential to get expelled by the society. So the one thing is truth. It is better to create your own society. I am living with my parents here, and I really don't like it. Why? Because I also want to live in Japan and going to nightclubs, just being a content creator or the real creator there. So I couldn't do that. Why? It's an answer here, because of I'm a man. If you're a girl, you can get bunch of views. If you're a man, it is really tough for you, even you know the other languages. Most of the people going to attract with the girls. So if you're a male creator, your life is really hard, because the competition is really fierce, and nobody will going to just offer the things easily. So even in Turkey, from my childhood, I really get expelled. So I just get used to these feelings. I'm living with my bullshit mother, bullshit brother here. I have always wanted to live in another apartment, just like etc. But here the problem is, if you don't have the money, you can change your country, you can change your citizenship, you need to stay here for a long time. If you have the money, you can go anywhere else. If you are from Turkey, it's really tough, because nobody wants to just hire the Turkish people. So it is for me, sometimes I'm also trying to commit the suicide. Because if you cannot change your country, if you cannot go to the first class countries like the Attack on Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin. 私たちは、エリア人にとっては、なんでここで苦しんでるでしょうか？全然合理的ではないと思いますよ。そうですね。As I mentioned that before, why we are just suffering here? Why we cannot go to another country? Why we cannot just get pleasure there? Why we are suffering here? So nobody will going to give an answer for that. So my questions will going to come up and continue again and again and again. I just decide that if I just continue to speak in Turkish language, mostly I will lose my patience here. Whenever I'm speaking English language, I can understand that, I can think globally. Because if you are going to speak in Turkish language, most people are going to judge your ideas. Why? I have always raised and other things as well, like watching the Chinese podcast, listening to Japanese podcast, and now I'm living in Turkey, which is so different. Your life expectations are so different from the Turkish people. They are mostly wearing hijab, they are going to mosque, they are praying to Allah, and they are waiting for something different. What's happening? And it is not very logical here. Like the religion and the shukyo, people are only thinking about something different, what's going to be happen, but it's not going to be happen. The God will not going to help you. You can only help yourself. Nobody can just improve the situation. Sometimes people are just thinking like we need to improve our language speaking styles in order to just get a job. Okay, let me explain you, brother. Like, I have an entry document in the JLPT language exam. So I was just thinking about for a long time why I need to just be better, why I need to be different. From my childhood, I have always wanted to live in Japan. Why? There was a beautiful maid cafes and etc. But living in the puberty, living in a third class country, and living in the minimum wage is so hard. It is really tough for yourself changing your life. Even going to Japan, just getting help from somewhere else there. I also know that even I have to go to Japan, nobody will going to come up and help me. And when I go to Japan, I need to create my own fucking business there. Well, it is so understandable. Why? Because I'm a man. Because I'm a Turkish guy. If you are Turkish, you fucked up because your nationality not just getting want in the other countries in the world finally. Like even after the AI is rising, mostly emotions, most of the people, ideas have lost. Most of the people are in this world living in the digital sekai, digital world, and we cannot change it. So why we are trying to survive in the real world, everything is collapsed. Nobody is taking care about the others anymore. Everybody living in their own world. Even I just using the Instagram, I'm creating the content, but nobody is watching. So I'm asking myself what kind of content I can create and I can get watch. I'm not sure. Because if you not get watch, it means that nobody is taking care about you. If you are getting watch, it is better. So here I also want to do some preparation before the speech, but I understood that if I'm going to prepare a speech, it doesn't give me a naturality. You are just watching the script and you are thinking something different. But here, I'm here with my own thoughts here. I'm not just watching the script, not getting the preparation for the speech. I'm just speaking as usual with my own heart. So whenever I'm thinking like some people just saying that Turkey is a very beautiful country and they are living in the Japan and the Germany, I'm going to ask this kind of bullshit people. Stay in Turkey and come and live here. Rather than just saying Turkey is a beautiful country, etc. I really hate this kind of bullshit people. Let me explain why. When you're open saying like I am just going to Japan for traveling, like going to Hiroshima and going to Fujisama and the Fuji mountain, Fujisan and other things, maybe you can go to Tokyo Tower, but actually they are not going to Tokyo Tower, they are not going to Fujisan, mostly they are going to nightclubs, mostly they are going to brothels, and they are not saying anything about that. I really hate kind of the bullshit people. Whenever speaking with me, whenever speaking with others, be honest, be decent, not say any lie. It is not very logical here, okay? The other things which I'm going to mention that if you are a man, life is really hard for you. And when you want to create your own business, create your own life, mostly you are going to suffer. Why? Because the competition. There is a hypergamy. Most of the girls are getting attracted by a guy who is very handsome. And most the girls just getting appalled to him, and he is just getting all the resources, all the girls, and it's being normal here. If you don't have much followers, you fucked up. If you have a lot of followers, you can do whatever you want. That's a big of the expectation of a life. So what kind of content do you want to create? What kind of ideas do you want to bring to society? Do you want to bring to table? Well, I also getting into the different expectation and elaboration. Let me explain why. Should I speak the content in English language, or should I speak the content in Japanese language, or should I speak the content in Turkish language? So sometimes my ideas are getting mixed, and I'm just getting suffering a lot. On this channel and other channels, I'm not sure whether this channel is gonna be big or not. I want to continue to speak in English language rather than other languages. Because English is the global language and we can just make global friends here. But here, if I speak the Turkish language, mostly it is really tough for me to going to abroad and travel around the world. On this channel, I also thought that if I go to abroad, I wanna create some content in the English language rather than the Turkish language. Why? Because the ideas are real similar. Whatever I think in Turkish language, I can also think the same things in the English language as well. But the problem is the audience. If you are going to create a content, nobody's watching your content, what are you gonna do? I have always wanted to go to the nightclubs, just getting drink with the girls, just getting sleeping with the girls, dating with a lot of girls, but I couldn't do that. Mostly I have always watched other people's life on the YouTube, and my life wasn't be content enough for me. Why I'm just still complaining about the situation? Because I am not very unique. I am not very different from others. From my childhood, I have thought that I am so different from others, but it didn't. For example, I'm watching the other girls, they are dancing, they are showing their ass, and they are getting bunch of viewers, but it is hard for me to do that. If you are a man, you need to bring something to very harsh for yourself, and the pressure and the being the third class citizen is really tough. I'm just rising with the other guys, and it's being so not very enjoyable for me. Why I'm just still continue to live? Why I cannot go to the first class countries? I'm just asking this question a bunch of times. But there is no answer. I'm just continue to ask, just continue to struggle to go to the first class countries, to go to immigration. But the immigration policies are just getting harder day by day. So think about there. You wanna go to Europe, you wanna just see, you want to show a bunch of bank account documents, and you need to pay money. Even you pay money, even you show money in your bank account, it doesn't guarantee that they will give you a visa. So the problem is just arising again and again. What country I should go, which country I can get a job. Mostly people wanna immigrate, right? But the immigration process is not just ongoing same with the others. For example, if you are from the underdeveloped countries, your chances very low. If you are from the first class or second class countries, your immigration process is really easy. Nobody wants to live in the poverty. Nobody wants to live in the third class countries. But here the problem is, whenever I'm just seeing the Poland and Canada and other countries like Japan, mostly Sanaya Takaichi and other politicians are just arguing that it is better not to just get hire bunch of people from third class countries. They are trying to shut it. They are trying to cut it. Why? Because the immigrants are creating more problems to their countries, and it is understandable. I'm not just rejecting it, but if it is their choices, just cutting the immigration, just please say it, rather than giving us a dream. Okay? Nobody wants to just live in a dream for the immigration just changing their fucking countries. If you just say it, says don't come your country, don't come our country, don't try to speak Japanese, don't try to study Japanese, and if guys say it at the first, nobody wants to speak and nobody wants to just try to study your fucking bullshit Japanese language. Okay? You're also just missing some values here. If I had a chance just going to Germany, I would not definitely study fucking Japanese here. And I wouldn't just make it my dreams. Because there are some other Turkish guys are there, Turkish girls are there. If you're just hiring them, most of the people are going to be encourage themselves to study this bullshit language. But the other problem is, if you are not saying it first, you are also wasting my time. You are not saying anything, whether we want immigrant, we don't want immigrant, we want this kind of immigrant or not. Just you are not saying directly. Think about the Poland, okay? Think about the other countries. For example, let's think about the Poland. Like, Poland government says zero immigration. We don't want immigrants here. We can understand that. And then we don't have to study the fucking Polish language. Because the Poland government doesn't want immigrants. Okay, it is understandable. We don't have to just study Polish. Like the thing about the Israeli government. Israeli government doesn't want to bring more immigrants. They don't like the immigrants. So nobody's trying to study Israeli language, Ibranism, okay? It's understandable. But the problem is the Japanese government hiring immigrants. So people are asking, are you really don't want immigrants? Are you really want immigrants? Okay, if you don't want immigrants, why are you hiring the immigrants then now? So we are getting elaborate. I like to think about Canada. Sometimes they're opening, you can come to Canada, and sometimes they are saying that we don't like the immigrants. Okay guys, we got it, we got you. But the problem is, are you want or not? Why you are making us different? Nobody wants to live in their kind. Okay, I'm also saying that I am not important one here. There are a bunch of people out there. That word cannot stop for yourself. I understood. But the problem is, even it's like that then. So asking my another question. So why should we not struggle then? Should we struggle or should we not struggle? Okay, if the saying my problems in the YouTube videos on the YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel, so why the other people doing the same? The other things, other problems are coming here, and they are saying it's my life. I'm recording my fucking life. I must recording my fucking life then. So what is the problem because of my fucking Turkish? What we can do for that? Just go to the street and we can be happier. And if we can die, and we can be happy just getting out from the Turkey. If it is a conclusion just getting excluded and just getting the hang on a fucking scare, I prefer to accept that. And just getting out from the Turkey. Because you don't understand and you don't seem to understand, I don't care your fucking country. I only want to live in a non-Islamic country. If my wishes doesn't come true, I prefer to die trying. I prefer to die on this way. I prefer to die. Okay? And when you just understand me for my last breath, I will pleasurably die from your fucking country or fucking this chat. Because here the problem is, some people are just getting suffering, exploding. Okay, when the first class countries, America and Russia and other countries just exploiting the second or the third class resources, and they say we don't like you. Mostly they are getting the more healthy nutrition. They are living the better lives after exploiting the second or third classes. Think about America. Why you exploit Africa? Think about the England. Why you exploit India? Why you did game? Why you went to India then? I'm just asking the British society. Why you went to India then? I'm also asking the Australian people. Why you conquered Australia? You are coming from British. You are the prisoners. Why you went there, conquered there? So whenever in the history, most people, powerful, declaring the love, declaring the who is right, who is not right. I hope the story will going to rewritten, and you are going to suffer, I hope. I don't care your country at all, but the problem is, you cannot push the things for others as a love, because you are using the force, because you have a force and you have the ability to do that. But you cannot just force us. After you're exploiting us, you are not important, etc. You cannot say like that. Because if you are going to say like that, once upon a time, after we just history writing like that, one day, there will be start a rebellion from the third and second classes. And then, the most of the first class people will going to suffer. And you won't able to be understand the situation. You cannot say like that. You can accept it like that. The life is like that. I also know that. That's the reason why, till my last breath, I will scream my voice. Yeah, some people are also suffering here in Turkey. They are not getting the healthy nutrition. Some people are just getting the suicide here. They are just working the very bad situation, very bad jobs. Even the AI just taking their jobs. Even their unemployment rate is really high in this world widely. Yeah. So what? So what? Then all the shit, just say the other people not record any Instagram reels, just don't record any YouTube videos. Why they actually continue to record YouTube videos, just recording the Instagram reels, etc. Nobody's asking these questions. Okay, just drinking alcohol is really bad. Okay. Drinking smoke is really bad. Okay. So why the governments are selling this kind of products? Why the governments are selling the alcohol? Why the governments are selling the cigarettes? Whether you just accept me or not, till my last breath, I will continue the fight to immigrate to another non-Islamic country or the first or the second class countries. I prefer to die trying. Even you like or not like, it is your choice because it's my dream and it's my channel. I want to be bright for the second and third class countries members. Nobody will going to take care about you. Nobody will going to think about you. That's the reason why you need to think about yourself, not others. Thank you for watching until now. See you on next video.